Uh, Greetings. I'm Logan, the G.I. Joe Gamer. Let's play the intro.
Give you a heart attack, then there's two to lead, so go gung-ho, always ready to fight and make those cameos. And we can't forget about Scarlet, the ultimate girl power, a fierce warrior to make her enemies cower. Cobra's got Destro to supply the weapons, Cobra command, plots and schemes, to rule the world in his dreams. Zartan is never what he seems, and Baroness rocks that black leather outfit, shoots you quick and slip out the back of the head. Yo Joe, Cobra, oh. Logan's here to give his G.I. Joe taste. Oh yeah, Yo Joe, Cobra don't forget this, it's a G.I. Joe thing.
All right, just love the outro to that song. I hope you do too. Tonight on Joe Takes 46, we're going to be talking about Outback from the Hilt. Before we get into that, I wanted to mention that this is going to be the last Joe Takes for a little bit. We're going to be back on, we're going to be back on April 27th for Joe Takes 47. That's kind of funny. 27th for 47 with Clutch and the Vamp. So I hope you're looking forward to that. I've got the classified Vamp, and it's pretty awesome, and I can't wait to look at that. But Hilt Fam is going on vacation for a few weeks here, and we're going to be doing some live games and still going to have lots of videos, but Joe Takes and reviews and Fridays from the Hilt will be on hiatus for a little bit. But in the meantime, we still got this one to do. And let's take a look at Outback. Outback came out in 1987. Very cool figure. Now, at the end, I'm going to be playing a video that has a bunch of artwork and some video on the classified figure, and all the file cards too, with the art. So he came with this big old backpack. Now, he also came with a flashlight on his leg, but I lost that probably about within a year after I originally bought him in 1987. He did have a strap on this gun, but I never liked it, and it broke, so I just cut it off. And it still worked as a great machine gun. Very awesome figure. I love the survival and what that stands for in his chest. Now, mine is pretty much worn off. I played with this figure a lot when it first came out. I really thought it was a really cool figure and enjoyed playing with him. And a lot of the ones that came out in 1987, like Jinx and Tunnel Rat, there were some really, really good figures. Fast Draw, and he's just in that wave, as they say now. So that's going to take us to the. That's the only vintage figure I have of Outback. I do have some other ones like modern figures and other things like that nature, but that's my vintage figure, and I'll be pulling it up a little bit later and compare it to the new classified version of Outback that's based on the same figure. Now, they came out with a Tiger Force Outback in Europe, and also that was the first Outback they brought out in the classified series. He was number 39, as that basic Tiger Force card back, and then you have your artwork there, which was not bad. And for some reason, the European version had him with gray hair. So that's how they came out with him in the classified. I'm going to pop that down there as I pull him up here. Now, this was a really true to they held really true to the original figure. Uh, the European Outback was pretty cool. It was for Tiger Force, and I like the big old tiger on his chest instead of survival. It's really cool. He does have a really cool sidearm, and yeah, he has that flashlight I was talking about for the 1987 figure. They had everything, including they have an entrenching tool or shovel that actually comes off the backpack. Let me show you that, and it has a nice little shovel there. Now, my voice maybe cracking out a little bit. We just got through with the mid-season finale of Fridays from the Hilt, and that went on quite a while, and we had a great time, and so I was talking a lot. So if my voice cracks, that's probably why. Now, for some reason, they gave him a really, really cool face sculpt. The whole head sculpt is awesome with the blue bandana. So I wanted to show that off really good. Camo pants, just like the original Tiger Force one. I actually think this looks better than the original Tiger Force one. Sometimes they hit it out of the park. They did with this one. Now, that'll take us to the box art for the newer one that came out, which actually is based off the original, which originally came out before. Classified did it in reverse order, which was interesting, but they eventually did come out with Outback again as number 63 of the series. Now, in this line, they started the pictures on the back with all the accessories. That was pretty cool. And the artwork is really good. I mean, it's pretty decent for what it is. And it shows you with the sidearm there. And then they got the box art on the side, which is pretty decent. Now, they also had it on the top still, but they stopped doing that. But in this series, where they were blue, this is where they started the footlockers, which I really like. That had the name of the character, Outback, and the number of the classified series. Now, I've got all these accessories out and all the figures, so we're going to be taking a look at those as I pull him up here. Now, he was definitely true to form to the original figure, and he has ginger hair or red or orange, whatever you want to say, but really dark if it's red orange. Now, the original figure, the hair is a lot more bright orange, but they made it a little bit more subtle on this, and it's pretty cool. Now we got the original figure came with this web gear or tactical gear. I always thought it was also for climbing, but the other option is that it's to make it look like it's strapped for the backpack. Either way, it was an interesting feature, and I have it still for the vintage figure, but it's mixed in with my accessories somewhere, and I couldn't find it, which that happens a lot because I got a lot of accessories just mixed in together. And I've been separated over the years and trying to get them all like paired up with the original figure that they came with. So that's why I've got him with his machine gun and his backpack. I was able to find those. And so they're going to be now forever with that figure. And I like to keep them in little plastic with labels on them so that they just seal up really nice. And I just drop them in the bag, and then it's got some sticky on it. It seals them up pretty good. Now, these two figures, like I said, they from the original, and of course, what would Joe takes me without me dropping a backpack or something? But I'll have to get that later. Now, I love how they kept the true to form with the green bandana. It was pretty awesome. Great figures. Outback is an awesome figure, an awesome character. Now, a lot of people say they based this character off of Chuck Norris, and in a lot of ways, I agree. Now, at the time, they may have been in talks with Chuck Norris to do this character as a Chuck Norris figure. And so they might have had some head sculpt designs and everything, because when they came out with him, he looked a lot like Chuck Norris. But Chuck Norris came out with his own line of figures right about that same time. I'm pretty sure it was 1987, 88, right around in there where Outback came out. So who knows? Lost to the history of toy making and everything. Just like the year before where they tried to have Sylvester Stallone come in G.I. Joe as Rocky Balboa, and that fell through. And then he ended up with his own toy line. I think kind of the same thing happened maybe with Outback, or not. They may have just based the figure to make him look like Chuck Norris because he really does. And Chuck Norris was super popular in the 80s, so I wouldn't be surprised at all. So that's the figures. And that takes us to the media part of Outback. Now, Outback wasn't in any cartoons. He should have been in G.I. Joe the movie. He came out that year, but they only had a very, very select few. They had Jinx, Tuttle Rat, Falcon, Chuckles, which they barely had. And then Big Lob, and it was kind of weird because Big Lob wasn't actually a figure that came out that year. They easily could have had any one of these other 1987 figures in that movie, but they came up with a new character. I don't know why, but they did. That's what happened. That wasn't a bad movie. Wasn't a great movie. I love a lot of the stuff that happens in it. So at one point I may do a video just on GI Joe the movie because in a lot of ways it was a lot of fun. So there we are with that. Now the comics are a different story altogether. Now, Outback had some really, really cool storylines in the comic book. But like I said, he was never in the cartoon, either the Sunbow or the Deke series. Because by the time the Deke series came around, even Night Force was fading out of fashion in 89, 91. Because he came out with there was Night Force in 89, but they didn't use him in Operation Dragonfire, which came out in 89 for the producers Deke that made the later two seasons, 90 and 91 seasons of G.I. Joe, which were some of them were really interesting, some not so much. But that's the way we go with stories and cartoons and stuff. But the coolest comic book storyline with Outback was when he went undercover with Stalker, Snowjob, and Quick Kick to free an ambassador from Barovia, which is a fictional country invented by Larry Hama, who wrote most of the Marvel run of 155 issues of G.I. Joe Real American Hero, 28 issues of Special Missions, and the 4 yearbooks. So quite a bit. Plus, they had a G.I. Joe and the Transformers in there, which Larry Hama had nothing to do with. But he did later on have Transformers come into G.I. Joe in the later issues of the series to reintroduce Transformers Generation 2. But Outback didn't have much to do with that. But in the storyline where they went into Barovia to save an ambassador that had been taken prisoner, but when they got there, it was a textbook mission. They went in, they did what they needed to do, and there was nobody there. And come to find out, another U.S. department had negotiated the guy's release, and so they were kind of stuck, having broken into a military facility in another country, and they were stuck trying to escape. And well, they got ambushed by the military of that country, and Outback and Snowjob were injured. Not Outback. Snowjob and Quick Kick were injured, and Snowjob worse than Quick Kick. And so they ended up. Stalker made the call, and he ordered Outback to escape on his own. And Stalker stayed behind because Snowjob and Quick Kick were, like I said, they were wounded, and he was a medic too, so he stayed behind to make sure that they were okay. And then those three ended up going into a gulag and were prisoners for quite a long time in the comics. And Outback, that storyline carried over into Special Missions, and I'm pretty sure that was the only time we had a Special Missions continue from a comic book straight from that issue into this one. Now there was other ones that took place around and during the Cobra Civil War, but they didn't actually continue into each other like this did. Now this just went straight from that other comic for Outback right into how he escaped Barovia, and this is a really fun comic to read. So if you ever get a chance to pick up Special Missions number 6, please do so, and you enjoy Outback as a character. This shows his survival skills to the max, and I really enjoyed that. Of course, I have issue 5 on the back here. Actually, issue 6 is on the back of 5, but that's just how I store my comic books. So other than that, though, there was one other time in Special Missions where Outback Snowjob, not Snowjob, Outback Quick Kick and Stalker went on a mission to New Mexico together, and that was kind of a fun little thing where they went on vacation. They delivered a some kind of documents, and then they were on vacation and ended up getting taken over by some terrorists on a bus, and it was just like I said, a fun, interesting little storyline. Uh, mainly starring Outback and Quick Kick. Stalker was there, but he wasn't there for the terrorist attack at the end until the very end, I think. Anyway, it was a fun little storyline with Outback. But when Outback returned to the regular Joe series after this, a lot of the Joes didn't trust him because they thought he left his buddies behind, and they didn't believe his story that he had been ordered by Stalker to escape and get the word out about what happened to them and that they were prisoners. And it was ordered. The orders came down from up on top that nobody could go rescue them, and so they had sat there for a while until Snake Eyes and Scarlet decided to go in on their own and rescue them. And they ended up teaming up with Storm Shadow and Billy and Jinx and the Blind Master. So that was it was a really interesting storyline where they went to rescue them from the gulag. And so when poor Outback came back, and Leatherneck actually confronted him at the pit in Utah, and basically told him he was gonna kick his ass and everything. And Outback pulled a knife on him until Roadblock came in and broke it up. It was really tense moment between the Joes. Outback was really defending himself, but Outback felt so bad because he had to leave him behind. And then when Stalker, Quick Kick, and Stonejob returned, Stalker set him straight, and so did Outback and Stonejob. The only thing that kept him going in the gulag was knowing that he had escaped and got the word out. So that cheered him up, and then everybody in the Joes realized that Outback was on the level, and that it was cool. But I don't think Outback and the Leatherneck ever patched things up. The Leatherneck had a tendency to rub people the wrong way, anyways. So that's his media appearances in comics and cartoon. I mean, he did appear in a few comics, other comics. His first appearance was with Tunnel Rat, and they did there was a little like battle trailer with two cannons, and I have it, but I don't remember what it's called off the top of my head. But they went up against the Cobra Pogo, and I remember that because of how ridiculous it was. But it was also a fun little vehicle, which I don't own. But yeah, I do own the other one, and it just has like a battle track or something like that. It's got a simple little simple little name, but it was a trailer, and it had these two cannons, and it spun all the way around, and it had two seats on it, and the guys could sit one direction, one the other, if I remember right. And it was a little cool thing. You pulled out these little braces so that it could fire the cannons, and definitely an interesting little vehicle that could go on its own, but also could be towed by another vehicle. I think that one and the Road Toad came out the same year, and those are the last of the trailers they ever brought out for G.I. Joe, other than as a remold, like with the Cobra Python Asp, which came out the next year or 2 years later, I think, or the next year. I don't remember which. Somewhere around in there, but they basically didn't mold any more of the trailers because I guess they didn't sell very well. I thought they were pretty cool, and I have had a fun time trying to collect all the trailers. I think the only one I don't have is the Coastal Defender. So that's the one I don't have, but I have the other 6 trailers that they put out. The heavy artillery laser that came out the very first year. The mobile missile system, which I just took a look at a couple of weeks ago with Hawk, and that was kind of cool. Then they came out with a few others like the mountain howitzer and just things that were towed, and then the Road Toad and the like I said, that it's just a little cannon thing, and I don't remember the name of it. I don't know why, but that was in Outback's first appearance in the comics, and that was pretty cool. One with the original Cobra Commander in the battle armor before Fred the Seventh attempted to kill him and took over Cobra for a little while. But it was Cobra Commander originally in the armor and the Cobra Pogo in the comics. So Now that's his mini appearances. So that takes us to talking about the character. I really like Outback. I like the fact that he is a loner and survivalist, and that he can live out in the wilderness for just weeks on end, living off the land and living good, is what he said when they first picked him up. When Hawk asked him what happened to all his equipment, and he said it all froze within the first week, but he managed to survive, even after all that. And so there he was. He's like this kick-ass survivalist, and I've talked about his character a bit on his comic appearance. So for me, in my Joverse, he got his E5 papers, which it says so on his file card that he's E5, which makes him a sergeant. He can lead a squad, but I don't think he ever has. He's basically just their survival instructor, and that's his job on the Joe team. He teaches the Joes to survive, and if they need somebody to go on a mission where it's going to be out in the wilderness for who knows how long, that's what they send Outback in for. Now, I actually have him on a squad, and he's got a lot of the teammates from 1987 as his squad mates, and so I have a lot of fun with it in my own head canon of where they're placed on the Joe team, and it's actually, I've incorporated a lot of that into my military action game, which we just had a military action game on this past Monday, which was a lot of fun. And the players who have all new characters, all new Joes, basically, did Fire Team Echo. It went up against Cobra Bats. It was kind of neat. Their own vessel, which is called the Silverado, but it was actually built from what was left of the flag after one of the final battles with Cobra. So a lot of that stuff hasn't been revealed yet. So, but it will be on the military action game. So, Outback really reminds me a lot of a character that I would play if I were going to play a character in a military action game run by somebody other than myself. But where do I place him in my favorites list? I'm not really sure. I mean, I know I like him a lot more than some and a lot less than others, but G.I. Joe has 200, more than 200 characters, more than 250, I think, at this point. And there's just a lot of Joes. And I would say he's definitely in my top 50, if not even my top 30. He's a really cool Joe. And that is my take on Outback. Now I'm going to play the On Joe Takes 46 video for you. And that's how we're going to end it out. So on that note, Logan out. And I will, if I get my mouse to work, play the video for you. Take it easy.
In the depths of the wilderness, where danger lies, a rugged soldier stands with fire in his eyes. Fighting for justice in a world so wild. Outback leads the charge, the spirit undefiled. In the wild frontier, we will never fear. Outback fights to find his mission crystal clear. Through the thick and thin, he's always gonna win. Outback's the hero we need, his spirit's gonna grant. In the depths of the wilderness, where danger lies, a rugged soldier stands with fire in his eyes. Oh yeah, fighting for justice in a world so wild.